We are back on the bottom line. In this show, we cut through the chaos to simplify success. Again, I'm your host, Ryan Hermann, and today we're introducing a new guest. And we're bringing him in to talk about a topic that affects every business and every employee: benefits. Joining me is Bob Nienaber, and man, this guy has so many accolades, achievements that it makes me feel pretty small. But I'm so excited to talk to such an expert on these topics today. It's crazy. He's CHFC, RICP, CLU, a financial expert, co-founder of Benefit RFP, and 2022 Humanitarian Award winner, which is bizarre to me. Bob advises boards on executive benefits and senior financial programs, and he has led the development of award-winning technology and services for executive plans. He's also an accomplished author with two of his books currently in production for film. Bob, thank you for being here. It's such a pleasure to have you on. I'm excited to dive into this with you.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. So I kind of want to look at this in a different way, right? Employees and business leaders alike often feel overwhelmed by benefits. Plans can be really confusing, hard to understand, and even hard to explain. So I really want to start by breaking down why benefits feel so complicated and how companies can make them more accessible and valuable for their teams. So a problem, right? Problem that faces a lot of businesses and a lot of the audience that watches this show is that it is complicated and employees often do not understand what they're signing up for. This whole segment is meant for us to explore the practical strategies to simplify those benefits, improve the communication, and boost employee understanding and satisfaction. So as the show would suggest, I like to get to the bottom line of everything. So I want to dive into the meat, pick that beautiful brain of yours, and see how we can add value to our audience. So first and foremost, why are benefit plans written in a way that's so confusing for everyday employees?
Well, it's a great question because there is a lot of confusion out there. We did a conversation just with the Fortune 1000 companies a couple of years ago, and 97% of the people that their sole job is to work on executive benefits, cash benefits, stock benefits, whatnot for their top people, and 97% of them said that they were less than 50% knowledgeable because of all the rules, the regs, the challenges, the hurdles, everything you go over that make it complex. So what we did years ago is we built out a simple solution. We took all of the confusion and put it kind of in the back end or the inside of our proprietary technology so that instead of people having to worry about the rules and regs that, are sometimes gotchas in this world, those are eliminated. So now we just come to the point of using one of our technologies where a client can go on with their company and really do a full plan design of what they want to achieve. And the great thing about executive benefits is it's really a white paper. You can design it however you want it. There are actually very wide open rules around these that allow companies to set up plans to allow their participants to defer up to 100% of their income, 100% of their salary or commissions or bonus dollars. They can defer their stock. All these things enable participants to do a couple of things. One, during their growth years, if they're making a lot of money and they don't need it all today and they don't want to pay taxes, they can defer those dollars, and they can even take those dollars out in other states. I'm in California. We're one of the most tax aggressive states in the country. And rather than paying those taxes at distribution, if a participant wants to move to another state of lesser tax or no personal tax, they can do that and take those distributions out, which saves them, $133,000 per million on the distribution. And these are all rules that have existed for decades within the IRS, the Department of Labor regs, and ERISA. And so taking those complexities out of the conversation makes it a lot more fun. And that's what it should be. When you're talking about money, it should be a fun conversation, not a difficult conversation. The other thing that a lot of companies hear when they first are kind of going around the idea of doing something to put an executive plan in place to help recruit, retain, and reward their top people to make sure they don't leave and they don't have to replace them and do all those things. It gives them the opportunity to really focus on what they want their plans to do, the goals, how long they want vesting schedules to be, those types of things. But also it eliminates, they learn real quick that building the right plan, using the tax rules that exist out there, any plan in America that's an executive benefit plan, when it's properly set up and funded, will actually build a profit for the organization. And I'll say that again because a lot of people are always really surprised that, wait a minute, I thought this was going to increase my cost to pay an executive. No, it reduces negative cash flow related to paying out those executives, while at the same time building a piggy bank, if you will, a complete asset for the company that can be shared with shareholders. If it's a privately held company, then the owners of the company themselves can use the profits however they want. They can put it back into the company, or they can utilize it for their own benefits. They can put together cash enhancements or cash maximization plans for themselves. And when they see that and they understand that, when participating companies understand that, now you have a really, truly, I hate to use the term because it's overused, win-win situation where owners and participants are achieving phenomenal retirement or benefit results on these plans. And that's really what the goal is, to make it simple, to make it fun. Using our plans, industry average, there's about a 40% participation rate. That tells us that companies that we take over these plans, the people in the plans didn't understand them because of the confusion. Probably the people that sold them didn't understand. Most people don't even understand what they're selling, so they can't really help their companies much. But also, when you see low participation rates like that, we know the company's not getting the maximum value that they can be. So our bottom line goal is to have 95% participation rate, more than double what the industry average is. And we manage billions of dollars in this. We're part of a much larger company called Simplicity Group, and we do all their executive benefit programs for all their offices around the country. So it's a big chunk on a complex situation that we've simplified completely. We also administer these plans completely, so they don't have to administer them. And we're the most secure organization out there. We do what's called SOC 1, 2, and 3 for cyber protection and to protect the information of these executives that are putting money into these plans. So for us, it's fun. For the person that's stepping into this, it's a little scary sometimes, and we understand that. For people that have had a plan that's been put together improperly, wrong, with problems, then we know how to fix that and get them out of their messes and get them on the right track so that these things can be fun. We had a call just yesterday where a company already has about $20 million in the plan, and they're adding about $2.5 million a year. And one of the things they always cite is when they first met us 15 years ago, they were in free for all. Their free fall. Their plans were a mess. Their people were not trusting the company was going to give them benefits. All these bad things that can happen was going on. And since then, their plan has served a tremendous profit. They're about $6 million asset over liability.
Wow.
The owner can share that. They can use that for themselves. They can leave it in the plan, do whatever they want. But they're now in a world that they never thought they could experience by utilizing these plans.
It's crazy. You addressed several major things. And one that really stands out to me is even the people that are selling these plans, a lot of the time, they don't truly understand them. They don't even know themselves what's really in there, what's really possible. And it's too often that businesses do a poor job of explaining and showing what these benefits really are, what it all means. And like you said, there's a lot of rules, regulations, and boundaries and things that are put in place, and that can really reduce the ability to retain and consume that information correctly. So, just kind of briefly, what can companies do on the employee level to really simplify it and help their team understand it? Because, like you expressed, your guys' objective is 95% participation. So,
Mm-hmm.
what can the average everyday company do to help really drive that and grow that participation in the benefits?
Well, the first thing they have to do is when you think about a plan, there's the folks that are sponsoring the plan that are in charge of putting the plan together at the plan level. And if they don't understand it, then absolutely they're scared to death. If I'm an HR director and I'm putting together a plan for my C-suite folks and I do something wrong that's going to cost them money, I'm probably going to lose my job. So I'm scared to death. And so if I don't understand it, I'm absolutely not going to be able to transmit that properly down to the participants that are going to be eligible in the plan. So the first thing is to get those people comfortable, get them fully understanding in as quick as fashion as possible and a simple plan as possible to make sure that they understand exactly what the offer is. Once they're involved in the plan, then we take over from there with all the participants. We do a concierge total rewards program where we meet with every single participant. We show them what the value is what it's going to mean to them on deferral. So if I'm making $1 million a year and I'm going to defer $200,000, I want to know what's going to happen to me, what that's going to mean net of taxes, what it's really going to cost me today. But also, we educate them on what their value is going to look like in the future. And we show them real life values. We show them how to maximize things like Social Security, how to maximize their benefit payout by maybe not taking it in the same state where they're earning, like a California, maybe taking a distribution in another state, or even in a lot of cases with our plans, we have people taking distributions from other countries. And and so when you do that and you go through and you show them not only how it affects them now, but also how it affects them during the transition and how it affects them for the rest of their lives. People don't realize that the impact of taxes, for example, is just egregious. If I take $1 and I double it every year for 20 years, I'll have $1 million. If I put a 40% tax bracket to it, I'll have a little more than $12,000. And people are alarmed at how strong those tax impacts are. When you pay taxes today, you're not just paying them today. If I've got another 20 years to work before I retire, then I lose the compoundability of those dollars that were going to be lost. So I lose that, and then I lose it for the 30 years that I'm going to be retired. So I lose a lot of money, generally tens of millions of dollars, for my own personal use, and then of course what I'm going to leave to my beneficiaries. So we go through and we explain that so that they can then share that information with their spouse. And from a married standpoint, I know you're married, Ryan. Spouses, they see us get up, we go to work, they want to make sure they're okay. It's easy to explain, you're going to be fine now, I have a job, everything's good. But they also want to see what's going to happen in the future. Are we going to be able to retire? Are we going to have that day where we hang up the cleats and not have to guess what we
It's a
have,
really
but know
good
what we
point.
have?
That is a really, really good point, and I'm really glad you brought that up because that was going to be another big question, and this conversation is so jam packed with value. It's unreal. So I recommend to our audience, please take notes. This is stuff that you don't want to be missing. So we will be right back on the bottom line. Up next, we'll discuss how to use benefits to recruit and retain top talent and why smarter packages can give companies a real competitive edge. We'll be right back.